celebrate. They have done it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the More YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a rumour has it video, but no stats today, just all about the chats, because we're talking about a player linked to the football club. It's taken me a few days to do this one. I've had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of content to record as well, and we're just kind of getting around to this one really. But there's a story doing the rounds of an England international, a very talented player as well, and a bit of a character, it's safe to say, being linked to Newcastle United. Now that player is this fella, Jack Grealish. Now, love him or hate him, Jack Grealish is a talented footballer. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. He does play on the left-hand side, which is very, very heavily saturated for Newcastle right now with Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes. But there's talk about at least one of those going in the summer. Maybe a swap deal for Ramsey. So this could all be part of the grand design. But it looks like Jack Grealish's time at Manchester City is finally coming to an end. £100 million he left Aston Villa for to go to City. He was phenomenal at Aston Villa. And it's safe to say if you can get even half the player back that he was at Aston Villa, you've got a hell of a player on your hands there. But it looks like Manchester City are willing to let Jack Grealish go on loan this summer. And apparently Newcastle United, as a club, he's been offered to and have expressed an interest. Now, what kind of gives this story a little bit of credence as well is that The Athletic are talking about this story. And normally The Athletic are very reliable, not sensationalist. They don't just throw names out for clickbait. They generally talk about things that they may think have a little bit of validity to them. So that's making me wonder about the whole Jack Grealish thing here. And I really wonder whether a move to Newcastle would appeal to Jack Grealish, but also to Eddie Howe as well. I mean, taking the off-pitch side stuff, to one side for a minute. I will get to that. But on the pitch, you're talking about a player who's got excellent close control, real good skill, can beat a man, can create something out of nothing. And we don't have a lot of players that can do that. When our game plan isn't working, and sometimes you just need that moment of magic, something that a Ben Arthur used to be able to do, or a Alan St. Maximin used to be able to do, or obviously a Peter Beardsley back in the old days. But we don't have a player in our arsenal that can do that. And then the one thing that appeals to me about this proposed move is the loan deal. Now, if it's a loan deal and City are playing a portion of his wages, then there's very low risk for Newcastle on this one. But if we're trying to buy him, I mean, I can imagine City will probably want at least 60 million quid from him. And for me, the money's better spent on someone like Mbeumo on the right-hand side, who is a much better option and gives us more balance, because we don't need another left-sided player. We need a right winger, someone who can play on the right-hand side to give us an increase in quality, competition for Jacob Murphy, and give us goals and give us assists more than what Murphy's capable of doing. And he's been phenomenal this season, Murphy, to be fair, but an upgrade in that position is definitely something Newcastle need to address this summer transfer window. The only reason I could see the Grealish thing happening would be if either Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon leaves the football club, and whether that's Barnes doing this swap deal for Ramsey, which I'm not overly keen on. I mean, Ramsey's a decent player, but he's not had huge impacts at Aston Villa as of late. He doesn't even look like he's having the impact that prime Joe Willock would have. I understand if you're selling Joe Willock to Palace for 25 million quid, if you're doing a swap deal with Barnes and Ramsey. Personally, I think Villa at the minute would get a better swap out of that deal than we would. And then maybe you bring Grealish in on loan. That's how you play the game. You enhance your squad. You bring in Champions League quality, experienced players and England internationals and players that can do things, for very little capital outlay. So maybe that's what the grand design of the football club is. And maybe this is Paul Mitchell at work, learning how to play this system way better than the previous occupants of that position did do. But, the Jack Grealish thing's a very interesting thing. Not on a permanent for me, but if it's a loan deal, why not? It's very little risk and potentially plenty reward, because Jack Grealish has got Champions League experience. He's done it against the biggest teams in the Champions League. He's won trophies at City. He's probably a better player all around now than he was at Villa. But like I say, if you can get Grealish back into that situation where he's running just free, shackles off, beating players, committing players, winning your free kicks and pens, getting goals, getting assists, like he was at Aston Villa the season before they sold him. If you get half of that player back, you've got a hell of a player on your hands. But obviously the off-field stuff does concern us. He's a bit of a party boy, is Ward, Jackie. He does like a bevy. He likes to get himself in the mix, and the worry of him on the key side, Jesus, I mean, I don't even know if the show's still going, but you can just imagine popping up on an episode of Geordie Shore, couldn't you? Necking on with one of the lasses leg in her back, fucking Jack Grealish, man, fucking Jack Grealish, Jackie G. You can just imagine it going on, oh my word. it's even frightening because I'm saying it out loud and I can actually see it happening. But that worries me about the party boy antics of Grealish. But I don't think Howe would take him if he thought that was a problem. So I think Jack Grealish would have to keep his nose squeaky fucking clean if he came to Newcastle United. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Grealish. Would you have him? Do you think he's that good of a player? Would be stupid to turn him down? I've seen a few people saying that, and I understand the logic behind that because he's a very, very talented footballer, and Newcastle United can't say no to plenty of more of quality footballers. Outside of our starting kind of 12 to 13, the quality does drop off quite a bit. So someone like Jack Grealish would be a real good squad player to bring in to play in certain games. They want to change things up, but I can't see him coming in unless one of Gordon or Barnes leaves, in my opinion. So let us know in the comments below your thoughts. Always like to hear from you. Like and subscribe. Keep it evermore. We'll be back with loads of transfer banter soon because it's mounting up. And if Newcastle secure Champions League football, if we get to the Champions League, which I think we will, then we will be shopping in a real good pool of players. And with PSR restraints being lifted a bit for Newcastle because we haven't done anything for 3 years versus other clubs, we could be in real prime position to get some quality players in this summer, and we need it for squad depth if we're going to consider any kind of a run in the Champions League without going out of the group stages. So let us know, guys, what you think. Love to hear from you. Keep it evermore. Have a bell there. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.